Hello, hello! In today's episode, my Notebook LM AI assistants are going to dive deep into 5 more episodes of Season 4, but this time focusing on helping solopreneurs like you streamline how you serve your clients. I've reused a custom prompt to get my 2 Notebook LM assistants to focus on extracting the most actionable strategies of each episode and correctly provide links in case you would like to dive even deeper. So without further ado, let's discover the audio overview of episodes 86 through 90.
Welcome to the deep dive, episodes 86 through 90 of the Macpreneur Podcast, all from Damien.
That's right. A good batch of episodes for Mac users.
Absolutely. And our mission for you today is pretty laser focused. We want to pull out the most useful, the most actionable strategies Damien covered for Mac using solopreneurs in those specific 5 episodes.
Yeah, get you those insights quickly. Like a rapid fire guide almost.
Exactly. Think of it that way, boosting your Mac-based business efficiency pronto.
And Damien really did pack a lot in there. Practical stuff, from files to email to syncing.
He sure did. So we've done the sifting for you. Let's give you those key steps you can actually take, like right away.
Okay, sounds good. Where should we start?
Let's jump straight into episode 86. That was the one on perfect Mac file organization.
Yes, the place for everything episode.
That's the one. Damien's core idea, from his grandfather apparently, a place for everything and everything in its place. He argues that applies perfectly to digital files.
It makes sense. If your files are a mess, it probably means something doesn't have a proper home, or it's in the wrong spot.
Right, and something you can act on immediately. Damien's advice on separating business and personal stuff.
He even suggested, for better security and just clarity, maybe using 2 totally separate cloud storage accounts.
Yeah.
One for work, one for personal.
That's a really tangible first step someone could take, isn't it?
Definitely. No ambiguity there.
And then when you're actually structuring those business files, he really hammers home that your main folders, those top level ones, should reflect how you actually work.
Yeah, not just some generic template. He gave examples like admin, business dev, finance operations, or that other model, build, market, monetize.
So the idea is you look at your own process. What are the big buckets for you? That's your starting point for folders.
And crucially, don't overcomplicate it at the start. Damien says start shallow, Only make deeper folders when you actually need them.
Like his example of the client folder maybe later becoming B2B and B2C?
Exactly. Or tech splitting into devices and tools. It grows with you. It's much less daunting that way.
Okay, so that's the philosophy, but how do you do it? He had that 6-step process.
Right. Step 1 was choosing your storage. Secure, synchronizing. He mentioned private clouds, like a Synology NAS. This network attached storage.
Bit more technical, that one.
Yeah, or simpler options like end-to-end encrypted services. Sync.com, Proton Drive are mentioned. You need to think about security needs too. GDPR, HIPAA, that sort of thing.
Good point. Step 2 was that clever trick. Move everything into a temporary folder first.
Oh yeah, the dash prefix.
Yeah.
So dash temporary files or whatever makes it pop to the top in Finder. And use new folder with selection speeds it up.
Smart. Step 3. Create that new top-level structure based on your actual business processes like we just discussed.
Then step 4, get visual. Open 2 Finder windows side by side. Command N for new window is handy.
Or option clicking open in new window from a folder.
Right. Then step 5 is the actual moving part. Do it gradually. Put things in their main folders. And remember, only create subfolders when you really feel the need.
Keep it shallow initially.
Exactly. And finally, step 6. Make it easy to get to your stuff. Drag those key folders to Finder favorites, the sidebar.
That little pin icon section.
Or create desktop aliases. That's Option Command Drag. See that little curvy arrow icon?
Aliases, right. Not actual copies.
Correct. Just shortcuts. And he even suggested maybe think about using that same top-level structure elsewhere, like Safari bookmarks or even your task manager.
Interesting. So for you listening, the immediate action here from episode 86 is maybe just take a second, ask yourself, does every business file I own really have a clear, dedicated home right now?
If the answer is no, or even maybe episode 86 over at macpreneur.com/episode 86 gives you that clear roadmap.
All right, good stuff. Let's shift gears to episode 87, taking control of your inbox.
Email, the bane of many existences.
Tell me about it. Damien starts this one with 3 mindset shifts that honestly could make a difference right away. First is agency.
Meaning you're in charge.
Exactly. You decide when you check email, not the other way around. Reframe that constant pressure. Unless it's like a truly critical contact, urgent can probably wait a bit. A couple of hours, maybe.
That takes discipline, but I see the point. Second was about the nature of urgency itself.
Right. Email is usually not the best channel for something truly drop everything urgent.
Like a phone call, text message,
Yeah.
carrier pigeon.
Maybe not the pigeon. But yeah, call, text, Slack, whatever works for actual emergencies. Email's generally asynchronous.
Okay. And the third mindset shift.
Managing expectations. Be explicit. Put your typical response time in your email signature or on your contact form.
Proactively setting the pace.
Yeah. And even implicitly, by scheduling replies. macOS and iOS have that built in now. Gmail too. Don't reply instantly just because you can.
Good point. Okay, so mindset shifted. What about actual workflow changes?
He suggests treating your inbox like an old school physical mailbox.
Check it deliberately.
Yeah. Set times. Maybe max 4 times a day. No leaving the app open constantly. Turn off those endless notifications. And this is key. Process each email once. Touch it once.
Decide what to do with it then and there.
Exactly. Which leads into his GTD approach for email. Getting things done.
The David Allen stuff.
Sort of adapted for email. Ask, is this actionable? If no, delete or archive. Gone.
Simple enough.
If yes, then what's the very next action? And that's where the 2-minute rule comes in.
If it takes less than 2 minutes, just do it now.
Right. But again, even if it's quick, don't feel you have to send the reply immediately. Maybe schedule it so you're not setting that instant reply expectation.
Okay, makes sense. What about filing?
He links back to episode 86. Use that same business structure for your archive folders. Keep it shallow at first, but then he introduces this @action folder idea.
@action.
That's just a folder, probably prefixed with @set, so it sorts to the top. Inside that, you make subfolders like follow up, read, reply, to do.
So actionable emails get moved out of the inbox into one of these specific action folders.
Precisely. Your inbox isn't your to-do list. It's just for processing.
Clever. I like that.
And for Gmail users, he mentioned multiple inboxes, setting up custom views using search, like show me all unread emails labeled @action reply.
So you can focus just on what needs a response, for example.
Exactly. Cuts through the noise. Now, automation.
Rules and filters.
Definitely. Set them up server-side if you can on iCloud.com, mail.google.com, etc. So they run even when your Mac is off.
Like automatically filing newsletters into that @action read folder.
Damien apparently has hundreds for his business. He also mentions SaneBox, that AI tool that filters less important stuff into separate folders, like @SaneLater.
Heard of that. Saves time, apparently.
He claimed it saved him something like 50 workdays over 7 years. They have a trial and a credit. Check the show notes for that. And Zapier, too.
Zapier. For email.
Yeah, to trigger actions outside email. Like automatically save a PDF attachment from a specific sender to your cloud storage.
Wow, okay. Getting pretty advanced there.
It can. But Damien's final word on email was, don't get obsessed with inbox zero. Focus on timely replies to what matters and not losing track of things.
So the action step from episode 87 is pick one thing.
Pretty much. Just choose one strategy that resonated mindset, workflow, filing, automation, and try implementing it. See how it feels. That's macpreneur.com/episode 87.
Okay, episode 88, iCloud synchronization. It's a big one for Apple users.
Huge. First, clarity. What does iCloud sync that's useful for business? He lists iCloud Drive, Mail, Reminders, Calendars, Contacts.
Notes, photos, messages, passwords, Safari bookmarks,
Right.
and optionally the big ones, Mac Desktop and Documents folders.
Right. But just as vital is knowing what it doesn't sync, your actual device settings, like your wallpaper or dock setup, your installed applications.
That catches people out.
Yeah. And data in other clouds, Dropbox, Google Drive, etc. And crucially, your Mac backups. iCloud is not a full Mac backup.
Time machine and an external drive for that. Minimum twice the size of your internal drive you recommend.
Absolutely essential. Now, a key actionable point from Damien. iCloud sync isn't automatic everywhere. You have to manually check the settings.
On every single Apple device you use for business.
Yep. Go into system settings or preferences on the Mac or the settings app on iPhone, iPad, find your Apple account, then iCloud, and make sure the services you need are actually toggled on.
iCloud Drive for documents or calendars. Don't assume they're on.
Exactly. And he gave a specific warning about that desktop and documents sync option.
Oh yeah, the potential nightmare scenario.
Right. It can sometimes just switch itself back on after a macOS update. He mentioned a client whose massive Final Cut project suddenly started uploading because of it.
Yikes. So be super careful with that setting, especially during setup or after updates.
Definitely. Now, he also revisited iCloud for business use in 2024, talking about advanced data protection.
The end-to-end encryption.
For many services now, which is great, but it's off by default. You have to enable it, need two-factor authentication, a recovery contact or key.
And all your devices need to be on recent OS versions.
Right. But here's the kicker. Even with advanced data protection turned on, your mail, contacts, and calendar data are still not end-to-end encrypted by iCloud.
Seriously. That seems like a big gap for business users.
It is. And that's why Damien's core advice hasn't really changed. For your absolutely critical business email, contacts, calendar, and maybe even primary documents.
Especially if you need things like GDPR and hypercompliance.
He still strongly recommends considering business-focused platforms like Google Workspace or Microsoft 365. They're often built with more robustness and compliance in mind for those core services.
So the actionable step from 88 is review your iCloud settings today, understand those encryption limitations, be very wary of desktop and document sync, and maybe reassess if iCloud is right for your core business communication and scheduling.
Spot on. That's macpreneur.com/episode 88.
Moving on to episode 89, managing apps across Apple devices.
Okay, the bad news first, Damien says. No magic button to sync all your installed apps everywhere. But the good news is you can streamline installation for App Store apps on your iPhone or iPad.
You can turn on automatic downloads for future apps you get, right? In Settings, App Store.
Yep. Though be careful if a device has limited storage. To see stuff you bought before but isn't installed now, long press the App Store icon, tap Purchased, then not on this iPhone iPad.
Gotcha. And on the Mac.
Open the Mac App Store, click your account name bottom left. It lists all your purchased apps. Cloud icon means it's not installed.
Not on this Mac filter, though, annoyingly.
A bit less convenient. He also mentioned a device limit for purchases.
Yeah, 10 devices associated with your Apple ID for purchases, max 5 computers. Different from just being logged in. You manage that in the Mac App Store account settings.
And if you have one of the newer Apple Silicon Macs, you might be able to install compatible iPhone and iPad apps directly from the Mac App Store. Look for the iPhone and iPad apps section in your account, but they might not be perfectly optimized.
Okay. What about apps not from the App Store? Your paid software, often.
This is crucial. Actionable step. Always check the developer's website or license agreement. How many devices can you install it on? Some have hard limits.
Right. Or it's tied to your subscription level.
Exactly. And before you wipe a Mac or sell it, try to deactivate the license within the app if possible. Saves headaches contacting support later.
Good tip. He also suggested SetTap.
Yeah, SETAPP. He called it like a Netflix for Mac apps,
Okay.
A subscription service, pay a flat fee, get access to a whole bunch of curated apps.
And it handles the licensing.
Yeah, simplifies installation and management for all the apps within its catalog. Might be worth checking out, especially if you use several paid apps. They usually have trials. Macpreneur.com/SetTap, I think he said.
Okay. And that brief mention of the Digital Markets Act in Europe.
Right, the DMA. Big gatekeepers like Apple now have to allow other ways to get apps onto iPhones in Europe, like directly from developers or third-party stores.
So things might change, at least in Europe for now.
Could spread, something to keep an eye on. So, the action from episode 89. Take stock of your apps. Manage your App Store devices. For paid non-App Store apps, know your license limits, and maybe explore SetTap. That's macpreneur.com/episode 89.
All right, final one in this batch, episode 90. Accessing documents across Apple devices.
Kind of circles back to episode 88 a bit, but focusing purely on documents. Damien highlights iCloud Drive again, noting that end-to-end encryption advantage with advanced data protection turned on.
Unique among the big players like Google, Microsoft, Dropbox, he said. Although Google has some client-side encryption now, but it's different.
Right, and iCloud Drive integrates tightly with macOS Finder tags Sync. Sharing is easy via messages or mail right from Finder.
But the downside for collaboration, if you share with someone not in the Apple world.
They need to create an Apple ID and use iCloud.com can be a barrier.
Also, that reminder, cloud documents generally aren't backed up by Time Machine. Need a separate backup strategy for them.
Crucial point. And watch out for conflicts if you use Dropbox and iCloud desktop documents sync. Be careful during setup.
And those pesky OneDrive file naming rules.
Oh, yes. No quotes, asterisks, colons, angle brackets, question marks, backslashes, forward slashes, pipes, no leading trailing spaces, and a 400-character path limit. Windows legacy stuff.
Google Drive is much easier, mostly just avoids colons on macOS.
True. Okay, what about mobile access? iPhone, iPad.
Actionable steps: install the mobile apps for your cloud service, sign in. Then tip 1, learn how to mark files available offline in that app, usually behind a 3 dots menu.
Good for travel or spotty connections.
Tip 2, enable those third-party services in the native Files app. Go to Files, tap the 3 dots, edit, toggle them on. So you can easily attach files from, say, Dropbox or OneDrive directly within the Apple Mail app. When you go to attach, you hit Browse and they'll show up as locations.
Neat integration. And tip 3?
Install the native editing app's Microsoft 365 app or Google Docs Sheet Slides on your mobile device for actual editing. Mobile apps are less powerful, but good for quick changes.
Okay. He also clarified something about iCloud syncing app data, right?
Yeah, building on episode 88, iCloud can sync data for an app if the developer built it that way. But many cross-platform apps use their own servers instead. He gave Ulysses as an example. Mac-focused app syncs via iCloud Drive, but the files are hidden. Whereas just Press Record can save audio visibly in iCloud Drive.
Depends on the app developer.
Exactly. So the action step from episode 90 is look at your main cloud storage for business docs. If it's iCloud Drive, know its limits for sharing and offline. If third-party, configure sync properly, local versus on-demand. Watch for OneDrive naming issues. Get the mobile apps set up and learn the offline files app tricks. That's macpreneur.com/episode 90.
Wow, okay. I think we've managed to pull out some really solid actionable takeaways from Damien's Macpreneur episodes 86 through 90.
Absolutely. Lots of practical steps a Mac using Solopreneur could implement pretty quickly to streamline things. Files, email, sync, apps, docs. Covered a lot of ground.
We really did. And of course, these are the highlights, the actionable nuggets. We strongly encourage you, if any of this sparked your interest, go listen to the full episodes.
Yeah, for the full context and detail, just head to macpreneur.com/episode and then the number 86, 87, 88, 89, or 90.
Perfect. So let's leave you with a final thought to chew on. Thinking about everything we just covered: organizing files, taming email, handling sync, managing apps and documents.
Which one thing? Which single tactic or strategy Damien talked about feels like it could give your solopreneur workflow the biggest positive bump, starting like right now?
What's the one small, achievable action you're going to take today based on this?
I'm back. I hope you found this AI-generated audio overview valuable somehow, including pointers to evergreen episodes that you might have missed or that you want a refresh on. So I'm curious, what do you think about this kind of episode? To let me know, just fill the feedback form available at macpreneur.com/contact. It would mean the world to me. Once again, it's macpreneur.com/contact. Next time I will rebroadcast episode 91, during which Susanna Ray, Roland Usche, and Anna Lundberg share the Mac apps that they use to serve their clients. So make sure to subscribe or follow this podcast to get it automatically next week. And until next time, I'm Damien Schreurs, wishing you a great day.
Thank you for watching the Macpreneur Podcast. If you've enjoyed the show, please leave a comment and share it with a friend right now.